Hey guys, it's Gwendolyn W. Jumping on for a few minutes to talk about that Club Shay Shay interview with Monique. First, Cat Williams was sitting in that safe space that Club Shay Shay has created for truth tellers. So when I say truth tellers, I mean people who are telling their truth. I love it. A safe space for people to tell their truth, to control their narrative. So I love it. So I want to talk about it really quick, as quick as I possibly can. I'll say this. As coaches, we get on here and we use these type of subjects to give you our spin on this whole topic so we can learn lessons from it, so we can get something out of it. We want to watch something. If we watch something for 3 hours, we want to leave with something. So I'm giving you my spin and my take on what I heard and what I saw. And we can just, in the comments, we can talk about it together, okay? All right, let's go. Now, my glasses are a little bit dirty. Let me clean them a little bit before I get in there because I need these glasses. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. All right. Here we go. Now, I wrote down several things that she talked about because I combed through the whole thing. And she said she wasn't accepted or never liked because she had a history of telling the truth. Now, that reminds me so much of myself. I get that in her so bad. I really get it because I'm bold. I'm a truth teller. I'm brutally honest. So anytime something comes up, I don't want to hear nothing but the truth. If people are not telling the truth, I look at them side-eyed. She tells the truth regardless of who toes she steps on. That's what she says. And they label her as difficult to work with. They label her. They give her a bad rep because most people, I can see why they give her a bad rep because most people don't tell the truth. Most people don't tell the truth at all. So I can see where she would be what the Bible calls the narrow gate. The narrow gate is people who tell the truth because it's a whole lot of liars out here. And I call them the great pretenders. So she says people are not too happy with her because she has a history of telling the truth. Another thing she talked about is, I love how Monique said, before someone tells her something, she will ask them, is what you're about to tell me, will it have me to question your character? And is it something where you have harmed someone? I love it when she said that, when she said she would ask, if you're my friend, I'm going to ask you this question. And I'm going to tell you until you go and make it right with the people, I can't have anything to do with you, sugar. Ooh, sugar, that's a word. Because if you move around like that with them, then you will eventually move around the same way with me. Go and take care of that. Accountability was her word throughout that interview. Go and take care of that. Take accountability. Do what you need to do to fix it. And then we can talk. I love that. To me, that's a genuine person. To me, that's a person who says, I can't have nothing fake, nothing phony, nothing that's not real around me. Because if I see you treating somebody else dirty, then you're just showing me who you are. And then next time it'll more than likely be my turn. So I really, really liked when she talked about that. Hold on one second, because I got to clean these glasses. So I'm going to sit this down 1 second, this phone, and then I'm going to come right back. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, much better. Much better. Thank you all for waiting. Hold on. All right. Now, hold on 1 second. Okay, this is another thing she talked about. You know, we coaches, we're in the raw anytime we put the camera down, and then we come right back to it. Listen, because we right off the cuff. What another subject, she said, why would someone stay where they're miserable? Monique said it's easier for her to deal with the crap she had to deal with in Hollywood because she dealt with it already. Ooh, this one right here, with her own family. Listen, I know I know about this too. Anytime, hear me well, people. Anytime you deal with crap in your family, I know you all know about this. When you deal with crap out in the world with other people, it's much easier for you to deal with it because your family are the people that you adore, you love, that can hurt you because you so close to them. Other people that you go out into the world with, it's not that easy for them to hurt you that way because you don't, 9 times out of 10, you don't care about them like you care about your family. This thing hit home for me because, hear me well, people, your family, any problems that you have in your family, that's your serious training ground. That's your serious training ground. If you can handle it, all the pain, the crap, the nonsense, the disappointment, the heartache in your family, everything else is a breeze. The family drama and crap is your training ground. Everything else is easy. Well, not super easy, but you get what I'm saying. And I love how she said that. All right. Because that definitely was one for me. It definitely was one for me. Okay. She talked about this too. Family issues. We've been taught to think that trauma is okay. You've disrespected me, you've mistreated me, you violated me, and you've abused me, and you belittled me. That's what she talked about. And I'm supposed to look at you at Thanksgiving and say, how you doing, Unc? Are you good? We're supposed to just swallow that pain. We're supposed to just forget about. She's saying, what, we supposed to just swallow that pain? Like your family members can do you dirty, treat you horrible, disrespect you, abuse you, dishonor you. And then we're supposed to come around, like she said, Thanksgiving time and be like, hey, how you? So good to see you. I love it. Why would you stay where you're miserable? I don't fully know. Only Monique knows everything that she has actually been through with her family, because I know she was molested by her brother, which is horrible. I know about molestation. I was molested as a child, as a as a teenager, a young teenager, by a grown man. And that whole thing, that is a terrible, terrible trauma to deal with. Monique's situation, she's in there with her family. Monique is famous. A lot of times in families, it's jealousy, envy. She probably dealt with all of that. Not only the trauma from being molested by her brother, but the trauma of even dealing with not being able to get along with your family. I don't know her full history with that, but that has got to be some devastating things to deal with. I just hope and pray that Monique has gotten the counseling, the therapy, the spiritual advice and direction, and the love from God, not from the universe, that she needs, because it can't all come from one man. I know her husband, I love how she honors her husband, and she talks really well, and she speaks so highly of her king, her husband. But God is our king. He is our savior. He is our healer. He is our deliverer. He is our everything. Never make, hear me, Monique, I hope you see this video. Never make a man your everything. Yes, men are kings when they are operating in their kingship, their sonship in Christ. But you get what I'm saying. He sounds like a wonderful man, and I'm so glad that he's good to her, because she needed him in her life. But God is our king, and I'm so glad that her husband is to her what she loves for him to be to her. He's operating in his kingship. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, she also talked about when you first come into Hollywood, you're so excited. You don't see anything for a while. But after you've been in the game for a long time, you begin to see more. You mature. You see how the big people are making everything, and the actresses are getting almost nothing. The actors and the actresses, they're not getting anything. That they basically playing them financially. And that's what Taraji P. Henson was talking about. And she was so hurt about. And she was crying about. She mentioned, actually, Taraji P. Henson, how broken she is for being mistreated by Hollywood. How Taraji, it's hard, she said it's hard to see her swallowing. Monique said it's hard to see Taraji swallowing that pain. It's hard to see her hurting like that. Monique called them out by name. Tyler Perry, Oprah, D.L. Hughley, Kevin Hart, even Al Sharpton, Will Packer, Kevin Hart. She called them all out by name. She called them all out by name. And she said it's hard to see Taraji P. Henson swallowing that pain. And the question was asked to Monique, why do you think, what's the difference in Taraji saying what she said and you're saying what you're saying? And Monique said the difference is I called them out. I called them by name. But Taraji, she said, is swallowing her pain. She also talked about how uncomfortable people are to have Monique's husband in every meeting and in everything that deals with her. I love how Monique expressed that her protector and strong representation was going to always be by her side, and how Hollywood tries to make strong love and unity look like it's a crime. Her husband is her strong support system. She says she takes her husband with her because he's her representative. He's her protector. She says it's a good idea for her husband to be there because it helps her to react differently to situations. So he's her protector. He's her shield. And he's her helper. He's her priest. He's her provider. He's her, that whole thing. Once again, I'll go back to never make man your everything. God is your everything. Never make man your everything. God is your everything. And if that man is stepping up in his kingship the way he is, the way he's supposed to, the way Monique says he is, that's a great thing. The only way a man can do that is if the man has Christ, is if the man has God as his Lord and Savior. He has Jesus as his Lord and Savior. Man can, hear me well, women, men cannot do this by themselves. Men can only operate in their true kingship is if they're saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Spirit. Not saved by the universe, saved by Christ himself. Hopefully, salvation is involved, because I did hear Monique talk a lot about the universe. I did not hear Monique say God's name, not one time. So I pray that Monique and her husband are saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Spirit, God's Holy Spirit. All right. Monique also spoke about how they, as actresses, need to be truthful, speak up and be strong, to trailblaze for the actresses that are to come. She don't want the future actresses to see them broken, hurt, and mistreated. She don't want them to go through what they've gone through. I love that. They're trailblazing for the people who are to come. They don't want them to have to go through the same thing. Okay, this here, you all, hear me well on this one, because this was something. How they beat Monique really good, blackballed her, stopped her bag in front of all of Hollywood, sending a message to all of Hollywood, like old slave masters, scaring the crap out of everybody else. She also spoke of how Taraji turned around and wrote a love letter to Oprah. Monique said she had a problem with that, because this helps Oprah to continue. It gives her a license to continue to keep doing what she's doing. They don't want to say nothing. They don't want to say anything because they saw how Monique was publicly whooped by the slave masters. Ooh. Monique said that they did a public display. You know how they would whoop one slave really bad in front of all the other slaves to send a message to all the other slaves that if you don't do what you're supposed to do, if you don't listen to everything that I'm telling you to do, if you try to run away and you try to do things your way, or you make a big fuss, a big deal, or you disrespect your slave masters, we're going to whip you. We're going to take your bag away. We're going to blackball you. We're going to, this thing here. Because I'm a firm believer. Honestly, I'm talking about me. I'm a firm believer that everybody in Hollywood has a boss. Nobody is it's only very few people who are controlling. They have all of their royalties. They have all of their rights. They cannot be touched. Cat Williams is one of them. He cannot be touched because he controls his own stuff. All these other people, a lot of people in Hollywood have bosses. They have people to answer to. They can't do what they want to do. They have to answer to somebody. Anytime you have to answer to somebody, they can put you up when they want to, and they can pull you down when they want to. Woo. Okay. Accountability. They won't take accountability. The only one that did was Lee Daniels. He apologized publicly. He apologized to Monique and her husband, and she said he apologized to her children for the wrong that he had did to her, how he wronged her. Now that takes a big person. Kudos to you, Lee Daniels, for taking accountability, for seeing what was done to her. These glasses are getting fogged up again, you all. And seeing what was done to her. You to just sit back like everybody else and watch her go through everything she was going through and turn around and you didn't right your wrong. Kudos to you, Lee Daniels. It takes a big man to do something like that. Then you turned around and you not only righted your wrongs, you compensated her for what she went through. And I'm sure you're still finding ways to compensate her moving forward. That's a beautiful thing. All right. Oprah, Tyler Perry, Lionsgate. Oprah says things behind closed doors, but when it's time to go public, she goes silent. Tyler Perry admitted behind closed doors on an audio recording, admitting that he violated and mistreated Monique, costing her millions of dollars. The lies that she's difficult to deal with. She has an audio recording of Tyler Perry admitting that he wronged her, he did her dirty. But he won't publicly apologize to her. Then she got blackballed for recording him. But that's the only way that she'll have proof of what she's talking about. Because they're dogging her out so bad and blackballing her so bad everywhere. But yet when she protects herself and records them and gets proof of Tyler Perry, that what she's been saying all along is the truth, then now they still making her wrong. Now they still making her wrong. Now she's still difficult. Now it's still something wrong with her. Really? No, Tyler Perry, humble yourself. Apologize to her. Right your wrong. Okay. Al Sharpton sold out. He was going to help her. Then all of a sudden he got a private jet ride from Tyler Perry He was bought. Then all of a sudden he disappeared. He didn't help her. She reached out to all of these people. Al Sharpton, he sold out for a jet ride from Tyler Perry. Stephanie Mills, she tried to help her, but Tyler said that he didn't want to revisit the thing with Monique. And he would meet with her, but without her husband. He don't want to meet with her husband. I don't know why he don't want to meet with her husband so bad. Kevin Hart reached out to Tyler on Monique's behalf because Monique reached out to him as well. Tyler said to Kevin Hart to tell Monique he doesn't want to revisit it. Kevin Hart even helped Monique financially when she needed it. She admitted that, and she said she appreciated that. Kevin was really good to her on that. And he tried to reach out to Tyler. But then Kevin turned around and told Monique that he was going to help her with some other things. And he was trying to get Monique, just forget about it. Move forward. Come on, Mo. Just move forward. And let's go and make money other ways. And let's do stuff other ways. And just get over it. And Monique doesn't want to get over it. She wants to be apologized to. She wants accountability to be taken. And she also wants to be compensated for her loss of so many millions of dollars. Then Kevin Hart backed out as well. And she hasn't talked to him in 2 years. But he said he was going to help her with so much. She reached out to so many people. So many people. And they tried. Some people tried. And then some turned their backs on her. Okay, Oprah did her dirty by bringing on her family without her consent. And Tyler blackballed her, saying that she's difficult to deal with. Then they tried to make her feel bad for protecting herself by recording Tyler. Oprah did her dirty. Oprah did her so dirty by bringing her family on to her show without even asking her, and she knew. Monique had personally talked to her personally, expressing all her vulnerability with Oprah. She had conversations with Oprah about how her family treated her. And Oprah did all this behind her back and didn't even mention anything to her about bringing her family on. Wow. Another thing I want to talk about. Oprah was Monique's. You know how when somebody's young and they want to be famous, Monique says she always wanted to be famous. Oprah was a woman that Monique looked up to. She looked up to Oprah. And to have somebody that you look up to step on you and do you this dirty, a woman in power, such as Oprah Winfrey herself, and she's in a powerful place to turn around and step on another sister that's not as powerful as she is. But Monique looked up to her. Monique admired her. And for Oprah to turn around and do her like she did her, wow. What kind of pride is that? What kind of level of foolery and pride is that? Now, none of us know how it feels to be in these positions, because we're not stars, and we don't have the money and the accolades and everything that they have. And I'm sure when you're in those positions, it's a lot that goes with it that we totally have no clue of. We don't understand. So we can only talk. I can only talk from only from a certain perspective, because at that level we know nothing about those levels. But we do know about integrity. But we do know about character. But we do know about having a good heart. We do know about telling the truth. We know about being a good person and treating people well and not dishonoring, mistreating, abusing, and taking advantage of people. We know about those attributes. All right. Monique still loves and is willing to have a conversation of reconciliation and accountability with these people, even though Oprah watched her get thrown under the bus. A black woman thrown under the bus. Lee Daniels offered Monique the part in The Butler. Oprah took it from her. Another one, a biopic on Richard Pryor. Monique was offered the role of the grandmother, and Oprah took that from her. Lee Daniels said he had no money or no power at the time, so he had no other choice but to give Oprah those parts, because he wanted Monique for both of those parts, but he couldn't do it because he didn't have any money or any power. His hands were tied. He was climbing and grinding and going for his dreams himself, and he could not. That's understandable. That's quite understandable. He took care of Monique later, though. I don't, another thing Monique said, I don't do the behind the back stuff. But if you avoid me, just say this: I tried to handle it privately. That's what Monique says. I tried to handle things privately, but I don't do backstabbing in the behind the back. But if you avoid me, then I tried. Then I guess that's what Monique say. Then this is what I have to do. I'm forced to do. I'm forced to go on Club Shay Shay and go public and tell on everybody. Okay, right here. I think I talked about this. Oprah. I keep coming back to Oprah. Tried to capitalize off of Monique's pain by calling Monique and asking her if her brother, who molested her, could come to Monique's interview on the Oprah Winfrey Show to publicly apologize to her. Monique said no. But then Oprah started filming commercials with Monique's mother and family on her show, talking about Monique, who had been violated. Never told Monique the ultimate betrayal. This back to her family. Oprah just must not really like Monique at all. For Oprah to just people in power, the higher you go, the lower you should go. Let me say that again. People in power, the higher you go, the lower you should go. What does that mean? That means if God has entrusted you with some power, then you should be on your knees. People, hear me well, powerful people. Every chance you get, you should be on your knees asking for direction. You should be on your knees, being humble. You should be on, the higher you go, the more power you have, the nicer and the better you should be towards people. Not arrogant, not cocky, not the HNIC, the head nigga in charge. The higher you go, the better you should be towards people. Because God has entrusted you with power. Don't abuse your power. That's messed up. That's messed up when people abuse their power like that. And they run around here, like Monique said, Tyler did, clap his hands and everybody left the room. What manner of mess is that? What is going on? Once again, I'll say it, like I said at the beginning of this video, Club Shay Shay created a space for truth tellers, for people to get on there and to tell their truth. And that's what she's doing. She's telling her truth, how she sees it, what she's gone through, her story. She's controlling her own narrative. People in power, cut it out. Because, it's just not cool. D.L. Hughley. This game or something, Would You Rather, when Monique was on his show. And the question was, would you rather your husband sleep with Lee Daniels with a condom or Corinne Steffen without a condom? Disrespectful stuff, Monique said. She called her brother DL. He played her. He played with her, saying it is what it is. He treated her like crap too. And he's trying to act like he didn't. And she outed him as well. Netflix special. D.L. Hughley said he'll accept anything. But they got mad at Monique when she just won't accept anything. Once again, they call her difficult to work with. She refused to settle. And because he just said he'll accept anything, because maybe he needed the money, I don't know. But because she refused to settle, and she wouldn't just accept anything, and she took a stand. Once again, they call her difficult. I love this part where Monique said, I didn't know we had so many tender people in our group. I wouldn't want to be on the front line with these cowards. I totally agree. I totally agree. When you got a whole bunch of yes men, Cat Williams called them a group. Monique calls them a group. All of them just alike. All of them in the same category. Monique, don't you say nothing to them people. Don't you say nothing to them people gonna stop our money. Like old slaves. They talk like old slaves. That's why I tell you, all of them have a boss. They're afraid to speak up. They're afraid to, they just settle for whatever it is that comes. They have to deal with that. Even Steve Harvey told Monique on his show that time when he brought her on the show, he said, Monique, we can't talk to these people like that. We can't have these conversations out in public. We can talk behind closed doors, but we can't. We can't say anything we want to say out here. We black. Steve Harvey said that. And Monique said, what is going on? I ain't never seen such a group of tender people, a bunch of cowards in all my life. Everybody done sold out. Monique said, I always wanted to be famous. When people want to be famous, when people, hear me, Monique, people try to make people feel bad if they want to be famous or if they want to be in certain positions. Hear me well, people. If people have it deep down in their heart and in their spirit because they want to be famous or they want to be in certain positions, do not make people feel bad about wanting to be famous or in certain positions, because if it's deep down in their soul, in their heart, it's because whatever they desire to be, it's because God gave them that desire. It's because they have a mission, a purpose, a responsibility in the earth. It's not because people want to be seen or people want to be on this pedestal or people want to be, whatever it is, whatever it is that people want to be. If they had a desire to be it, it's because that's their makeup. That's the way they were made. That's the way they were built. That's how God made them. Stop making people feel bad if they want to be famous or if they want to be in certain positions or they want to be, even if they want to be rich. Apparently maybe God wants them to be rich, want them to be wealthy. Maybe they're supposed to do a great work, a great service, help people for God. Now, you do have a lot of rich people out here, wealthy people out here who won't do nothing for nobody because they're selfish but that's between them. They selfish as all outdoors, but that's between them and their maker. Okay. Okay, here we go. Monique said, I always wanted to be famous. When people want to be famous, God gave you that desire. I talked about that. What's sad to me is her inspiration was Oprah and to be hurt. I talked about that. Hurt and disappointed by someone she admired. That was so disheartening to me. That just really, you can't tell me that. I know Monique said that she wasn't hurt. How could that not hurt you? How could that not hurt you when those people who were supposed to be, who were people that were supposed to be your friends, some people were supposed to be your colleagues, that a whole bunch of people just gang up on you and just contribute to the public beating. It was almost like a public lynching. A lynching. How could all of those people sit back and watch one woman be beaten and darn near lynched and not say anything and not do anything? How could they sit back and not make it right? Not even attempt to make it right. Not take any accountability. Not have a conversation with her. Not face her. Not want. Who does that? Except for the devil himself. Who does that? Literally trying to destroy her. Ooh, I know about that whole thing too. I went through a period in my life where a whole bunch of people turned on me and they tried to destroy me. They came in droves. God today. Let me tell you all something. If you ever going through, see, these are the lessons. These are the reason why we do these videos. Not because we're a gossip column. No, we're not gossip columns. Not because we even care about doing these subjects. Because we don't, us coaches out here, we don't like to tap into these things. We tap into a lot of different areas, but we tap into things like this is because it's a message in it. It's a message in it somewhere. It's a message in it. This is what I want to talk to you about. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for bringing it back to me. People, hear me well. If you're in a fight and it's you all by yourself, well, you're not by yourself because God is with you in this fight. And you have people in droves coming after you. They're coming after you in droves. It's you, it seemed like just little old you all by yourself. And then you got 50 people, 25 people, 10 people coming after one person. Let me tell you, you are a bad woman. You are a bad man. If you got a drove of people coming after you and it's just you by yourself, well, it's not you by yourself, but you got God with you. I'm telling you, you are a bad person. You are a force to be reckoned with. The reason why they have to come in droves, the reason why they have to come in groups and ooh, because you're so dangerous. You're so powerful. You're so wise. It's such a great call on your life that it take all of them to bring one person down. And then all of them can't even bring you down because God is with you. Monique, I pray that you see this video because that's what's happening to you, honey. Sugar. That's your favorite word. Sugar, my baby. If you got people coming for you in droves, you are a force to be reckoned with. God will prepare a table before you right in the presence of your enemies. That's the good news. She said, you got to pay me fairly and respect me. I demand my respect. I want an apology. I want accountability taken, public apology, accountability taken, and I want to be compensated for my millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that you all stole from me. She said, we don't care about your title, your money. We care about your character. That's what she said. Make it right. Compensate me for what you stole from me. We won't have to go to lawyers. We don't have to go do it through no lawyers. Tyler, just make it right. Okay, you say, imagine someone. They get you for millions. Would you just let it go? Because they keep asking her, different people keep asking her, like Kevin Hart, Mo, just let it go. Let's do something else. He said, Mo, let it go. Let's do something else. I'll help you with a lot of different stuff. I'll help you. And then he backed out on her. Wouldn't even take her calls. Didn't talk to her for 2 years. Still ain't talked to her. They just blackballed her, left her. Put a label on her, said she's difficult to deal with. Tried to break her. Monique, sugar, my sweet baby, when you're broken, believe it or not, that is one of the best places that you can be. Because God comes near to the brokenhearted. And Monique still loved them. She said, we're not calling you out. Wait a minute. Monique still loved them. We're not calling you out, she said, but we're calling you up. Wow. Calling you up to a higher standard. Calling you up to character and integrity. Calling you to make it right. Calling you to compensate me. Calling you to humble yourself and apologize. She talked about handpicked people never audition. If you audition, they play you. She said they play you. She said she don't audition. No, they either want me or they don't. She said she does not audition because that's when they really treat you bad. She also talked about she's nervous every time she does something, but it's not jittery nervous. It's the nervous where I get to do this all over again. It's an excitement type of nervousness where she's just excited about doing her purpose and serving her gift to the world. She talked about, I'm not backing down off the truth. If I do, what kind of example are we leaving for the people coming behind us? Monique still loves those who refuse to love her back. She said, I don't hate the person. I just don't like their behavior, which is biblical. Don't hate the person. Don't hate the sinner. Hate the sin. She told her husband, this right here. She told her husband, I wish I could put you in a bottle, shake you up, and let black women take a sip of you. Take a sip so they can see how it truly feels to be loved by a king. A love that's unexplainable and unimaginable. He loved her, she said, beyond her pain. And when everyone else rejected her, and when you have that kind of strength, it's hard to bend over, she said. She said, when you have that kind of strength loving you, or you get to that particular strength, it is hard to bend over. She said when she was at her lowest, he loved her like she was at her best. The way she describes this man, her husband, is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I almost feel like, you know how when everybody else turns their back on you and it just seems like you just don't have nobody else. And then you have this one person who will just stick with you through thick and thin. They will never leave your side. You cling to that person. That's what she's done to with her husband. She's been rejected, disappointed, blackballed, hurt, abused, dishonored, disrespected by so many people. They turn their backs on her. They won't right their wrongs. And then you have this one person, this husband of hers, who is loving her like she has never been. And she said he's been loving her like that his entire life because they've been knowing each other ever since they were kids. He just sat around and waited his turn. How could she not cling to him for dear life? I get it. Now, Monique, I want you to cling to God, not the universe, to God like that for dear life. Don't make him your idol. Cling to God like this for dear life. And then cling to your husband second. But I get it how she could she's just clinging to him. Clinging to him. And I get it. Because everybody else is gone. And they doing her dirty. And she feels like he's all she's got. Whew. He just kept telling her, we're going to be good. And she said she finally learned her place. As a wife, he helped her to learn her place. And he put her in her rightful place. She said he showed her that she was dealing with a king. In the beginning, she said she sat at the head of the table. And then she shifted to the side of the table. And now he's at the head of the table. She said it just happened because he showed her such kingship. What a king he was. And he operated in his position so well. She said it just happened. She was at the head and she just automatically just went to the side of the table and say, this is your position. She said it just happened. I love the way she honors him and how she respects him and how she speaks of him and she loves him. And I think the people around her, the people who did her dirty are trying to make it like it's a crime for her to feel the honor, the respect, what's the word I'm looking for, Lord? How she feels about her husband. It's a beautiful thing to me when a woman and a man can get to that space and that place. How she lets him lead. Apparently, he did it well. He did it so well. From ever since they were young to being her friend all those years to becoming her man, her husband, that it was easy for her to follow him. She said, auditions devalue you. She said, I'm offer only. No auditions gives you no trailer, no food, no drivers. They play you. So I talked about that already. Monique also said she knew as a child that the world would know her name. She said it's a knowing. I'm asking you now, YouTube, the people on YouTube. She said she knew as a child that someday people would know her name. It's a knowing. What did you want to be as a child? What did you want to be when you grew up? When I grow up, I want to be, what do you want to be? Go back to what you wanted to be as a child. Think of what you wanted to be when you were a child. You know what I wanted to be when I was a child? I wanted to be a personal stylist. What am I today? I am a personal stylist. I style women for special occasions. I don't know if I've ever told you guys that. That's a separate entity of mine, a separate business of mine. Yes. I wardrobe, everything. I do makeovers, everything. That's one thing I wanted to be. Another thing I wanted to be is I wanted to be a speaker. What am I today? I am a speaker, a life and relationship coach. I navigate God's people into their true worth, their purpose, and into their powerful, prosperous next level. What else was I good at? What else did I want to be? I loved doing voiceover because I've always been told that I had a beautiful voice. What do I do today? I am a voiceover expert. My voice is all over the world. I've done voiceover for movies. I've done voiceover for the mayor of the city of Chicago. My voice is on the Secretary of State website. I did their whole automation system. I've done so many voiceover contracts because what did I want to be when I was young? I used to sing in the choir for many years, over and over. I love singing. So what I would do is I would put my voice to work in different areas. Voiceover is nothing but voice acting. What did you want to be when you were a child? Do you see what I'm talking about? These are the lessons that we learn in situations like this. See, people think that we get on here and we're turning into a gossip column or we're turning into a gossip channel. No, we take situations like this and we talk about them because there's lessons in it that we can all learn. There's something that we can get out of it. It's something that can be helpful to us, or else God wouldn't allow it to happen in the universe. So it's something in it for us all. That's why us coaches get on here and we have these conversations. Every once in a while, we'll get somebody in the comments who will say something stupid because they don't understand what we're talking about right now. They think we want the likes. They think we want to be seen. They think we want they think we're selfish. How are we selfish out here if we're coaches, if we're dedicating our lives to helping others? No. That's selflessness. That's what it is. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to hurry up and get through this real quick. Much quicker. She talked about being fat, black, and slow, the least likely. And then she finally made it. Now, you see why she fights so hard to be what she envisioned. Yeah, she had to go through too much. She was the least likely. She said she was fat, she was black, and she was slow. And that's the reason why she looked up to Oprah so much. Because Oprah was considered fat and black too. And least likely because Oprah wasn't the most attractive thing. So she wasn't the most attractive woman. And for her to accomplish as much as she has accomplished, being at those type of odds, because she was also molested, fat, black. I don't know. I don't think she was slow, but yeah, that's why Monique looked up to her so much, because she She respected the grind, the climb, and it was against all odds because she was fat and she was black as well. Okay. The way she brought great affirmation to her husband, how she described him was out of this world. I commend her for the way she commends her husband for being the king that she sees him to be. Once again, I just encourage anybody who has a king, a beautiful king, a husband in their lives to put God first and not the man first. Okay, that's the lesson in that. Monique, when she learned the business and who she really was, she did not play. She never settled, and she demanded what she was worth. Tyler Perry, Oprah, Steve Harvey, you're showing everyone. This is what Monique said. Tyler Perry, Oprah, Steve Harvey, you're showing everyone your wealth, your houses, your cars, but your character is shot. That's what Monique said. Like, y'all showing them all this like gaining the whole world and losing your soul. You said, but your character is shot. Your integrity is shot. What are you showing the youth in our future? She says not good. They're bankrupt people. That's what she calls them. They're bankrupt people. Okay. She said, if you were my friend and someone said you wronged me, I'll ask you. Okay, I think I said that already. She said, if you were my friend and you wronged me, I'll ask you what you did. She'll tell you to, if you start stumbling over your words, she'll tell you to go and fix it. And if you don't fix it for somebody, of what you did to them, she knows it's just a matter of time before she'll be next. So I think I talked about that already. I must have wrote it up twice. Own it, fix it, and take accountability. It is when Tyler Perry and Oprah, the gatekeepers, did the bidding to get me to be a slave. Wow. It is when Tyler Perry and Oprah, the gatekeepers, did the bidding to get me to be a slave. She says she's warring for the people who are coming behind her. Okay, hear this. Taraji said at one point that the trailers were infested. And Monique's trailer, wait a minute. Taraji said the trailers were infested. And Monique said her trailer blew up because she told Will Packer that she smelled gas. And Will Packer apparently came in there, say he was the HNIC, the head nigga in charge. And she told him that she smelled gas. Or I don't know if she told him she smelled gas, or he came in there and they were complaining about somebody's being in the trailer with no shoes on. Like little petty stuff. But Monique said eventually the trailers blew up. And all they cared about was the wigs saved. Was the wigs. Did the wigs blow up? She said all of them could have blew up and all of them would have died in that trailer. But the only thing Will Packer cared about was being the HNIC, the head nigga in charge. Wow. Okay, it was asked, what would it take for Monique to forgive Tyler and Oprah? She said compensation for her loss, for being blackballed and a public apology. Take accountability. She want her millions back that they stole from her. She said, you admitted, Tyler, that you lied, and you admitted that you started a rumor that I'm difficult to work with, which blackballed me throughout all Hollywood, which made nobody, you and Oprah, made nobody to want to work with me. She says she need for you to own up to it. Fix it. Give me back my money. Apologize. Take accountability. Humble yourself. Oprah, she said, you owe me an apology. I shared with you my most vulnerable times regarding my family. And you behind my back, you would have them on your show, commercialize them. And then you walk around like, who gonna check me, boo? So what? I'm not apologizing. I don't owe you an apology. Who's gonna check? That's how Oprah was walking around like, who's gonna check me, boo? You think you're beyond reproach. Monique said she's not hurt, but I believe she's hurt. She says she's hurt for the community. But how could all this devastation happen to one woman and she not be hurt? And she not be traumatized? And she not be in pain? And she not want at least one person to love her like her husband's been loving, literally loving the hell out of her. Okay, she talked about 7 to 13-year-old Monique and the molestation, the impact it's had on Monique. And her being with men. The impact that it had on her. Her being molested from 7 to 13 years old. And she talked about being with different men and making mistakes and that made her act out sexually, and she talked about all of that, and that's what molestation can do if it's not checked. If it's not, I was molested, so if it's not checked, if you don't get any therapy, counseling, some help, spiritual advice, direction, do your work, coaching, get closer to God, read your Bible, do your work so you can heal and get well from the trauma. Mine only happened once. Hers happened 7 to 13 years old. That's a long time. Mine only happened one time because when my molester took advantage of me when I was young, a young teenage girl, that one time when I got away from that creep, I never ever put myself in that position anymore. Never went around him anymore. That whole thing just stayed away. No. Hers happened for some years. Monique said, I've always jumped if I think you're trying to violate me. I can personally identify with that. I can personally identify with that. If I feel like I'm being violated, dishonored, disrespected, someone's trying to come in along and mistreat me and play me, It's something about when you've been violated or molested, you ain't having it. That it's a boldness, because I have it, the boldness. I've done plenty of videos where I have this shirt on that says be bold. God made me the bold one. I understand Monique's boldness. She's been violated. She's been played with, toyed with, mishandled, mistreated. When you come away, when you come away after being dealt those bad cards, you protect yourself by being bold. You ain't having it no more, nowhere, no how, no way. It's a protection mechanism where you say, no more, enough is enough, not having it, the standards are high. The boundaries are tight. You will not be had. You will not be violated anymore. You will not be toyed with anymore. It's just something that comes with that whole thing. She said, I'll get to you before you get to me. I know how it feels to not be in control. That's what Monique said. That's what that molestation and being violated and dishonored and that whole 7 to 13-year-old molestation thing did for her. She said she had her share of men. She was a handful. Her husband said, you used your brother molesting you as a crutch for your bad behavior. And this is what her husband told her, I will not allow that. Not on my watch. You will no longer be loose and fancy free and all over the place sexually, using your molestation as an excuse and a crutch. No, her husband said, we're going to deal with this. This thing will not take you down. Her husband told her, when you were a little girl, you had no control, but you're a grown woman now. Where is your accountability? He told her to let go of that victim mentality. And she said her psychiatrist told her the exact same thing that her husband told her. And she knew that she had to get it together. She got therapy because she had to come to grips with what happened to her. Monique says also, I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I'm the same way. I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Okay. Stand in it and stand strong unapologetically in your truth, even if it doesn't put you in a good light. Stand strong unapologetically in your truth, even if it doesn't put you in a good light. Take courage. Deal in truth. She says, so many have left here and they're in their graves, broken and brokenhearted. She talked about Netflix tried it to underpay her because she was a black woman. They tried to make her look bad when she took a stand because she knows her worth. They wanted to pay, I remember she said they wanted to pay a white woman. They paid a white woman so much money, but then they wanted to pay her peanuts. And she wasn't having it. She took a stand. And once again, when she takes a stand, when she knows her worth, when she stands her ground, and she's labeled as difficult, hard to work with. She's blackballed. She's toyed with. Her money is taken away from her. And she's isolated from the group. She also talked about the women who paved the way. And I believe that's the reason why she's taking the stand that she's taking. She's paving the way as well. Because those black, powerful women, she mentioned many of them. They paved the way for her. She said, we've not been trained to understand. We've been trained to fight. Okay, she said, we've not been trained to understand. We've been trained to fight against you. She's talking about men. We've not been trained to understand men. We've been trained to fight against men. We've watched our mamas, our grandmas, our aunties speak ill of black men. So if he comes and he's a good one, wait a minute, so if he comes and he's good, we remember all that our ancestors said. I agree with her. Because most people speak from their place of pain. They speak from what they've been through. A lot of times, black women or women, period, will talk about men. And when they talk about men, they'll talk about it from a standpoint of how men treated them. So that's what she's talking about. Our moms and our grandmothers and our aunties and our ancestors. Sometimes even our great-grandmothers will come and have conversations with us about how men are, and they talk about how men treated them. They can only talk about from their experience, what they've been through, their experience with men. And it's not always right all the time because, like I say, in the videos that I do about men, I come for men and I tell men about they need to check their integrity and check their character. They need to go back, take a look in the mirror, and do the work they need to do so they can be right by the hearts of God's daughters. But I always say that this does not pertain to every man. Every man is not the same. There's some good ones out here who are doing it big, who are doing it right, who are taking care of their families, who are taking care of their wives. They're doing it like it should be done. They're doing it God's way. But then you have some out here, the playboys, the players, the molesters, the players, the adulterers, the fornicators, the strip clubbers, the womanizers, the ones out here who are totally letting their flesh get totally out of control. Those men. The men who just won't do right, I don't care what happens to them. That the only time they become a one-woman's man, they get to a place where they're old, tired, and they're sick because they womanized their entire lives. And now they want to be with this one woman who's been by their side since forever, or this one woman I'm talking about those men. That's what she's talking about. How our moms, grandmas, aunties talk about these men in a bad light according to their experience with men. But then when a good one comes along, all we remember is what our ancestors told us. And she talked about, Shaq said, don't open up to a woman or she'll use what she's learned, what you've told her, against you. Monique said, who else you gonna share your life with? Who else you gonna share? Who else you gonna share your information with? Who else you gonna share your heart with? Who else you gonna share your love with? Who else are you gonna share it with if you can't share it with a woman or a woman that you love? She said, Shaq, Shaq, what you talking about? She said her husband was the first time she was married, literally, because any other marriages she's had didn't mean anything to her, because she sees what a real marriage should look like. She loves that man. She loves that man. The Bible speaks of marriages where we're only supposed to get married one time. The Bible does speak of divorce too. It gives you a right to divorce, so I don't want to go into that whole topic, but yeah. Okay. And then Monique says that her and Cat Williams are twins. She says they're twins, kindred spirits. That Cat doesn't even know that they're twins, but they're twins. They have a kindred spirit, because I believe she believes that they have a kindred spirit because they're truth tellers. They tell their truth. Club Shay Shay, kudos to you. You've created a safe space for people to tell their truth. That's why I call it truth tellers, because whether it's the truth or not, it's their truth. It's how they see a thing. It's how they see what's happened to them. It's how they see people. And kudos, Club Shay Shay. Man of God on that couch, for creating a safe space for them to tell their truth. God bless you guys.